Whatever you are doing, bring love and a positive attitude into it. If you are in an uncomfortable situation, look within to see what is the best lesson for you to learn from it. One woman told me that her belief system allowed money to come to her from all sorts of unexpected sources. Her friends criticized her ability to draw wealth to her in her unique way and insisted that she had to work hard to earn money. She said that they knew she didn't work hard at all. So she began to run the fear that if she didn't work hard, that meant that she didn't deserve the money she had. Her consciousness was on the right track originally. She needed to thank herself instead of becoming fearful. She understood how to manifest abundance, and her life was working in that area without any struggle. However, her friends wanted to pull her down because they all worked hard, and didn't have as much money as she did. Many times I reach out my hand to others, and if they take it and want to learn new things and go places, it's wonderful. If they try and drag me down, I say goodbye, and I work with somebody who wants to come up out of the mud. If your life is filled with love and joy, don't listen to some miserable, lonely person who tells you how to run your life. Your life is rich and abundant. Don't listen to someone who is poor and in debt tell you how to run it. Very often, our parents are the ones telling us how to do things. They often come from a place of burden and hardship and misery, and then try to tell us how to run our lives. Many people worry about the economy and believe they will either earn or lose money due to the economic situation at present. However, the economy is always moving up and down. So, it doesn't matter what is happening out there, or what others do to change the economy. We are not stuck because of the economy. No matter what is happening out there in the world, it only matters what you believe about yourself. No matter what the problem. The main issue to work on is loving the self. This is the magic wand that dissolves problems. Remember the times when you felt good about yourself and how well your life was going. Remember the times when you were in love, and for those periods you seem to have no problems? Well, loving yourself is going to bring such a surge of good feelings and good fortune to you that you will be dancing on air. Loving yourself makes you feel good. It's impossible to love yourself unless you have self-approval and self-acceptance. This means no criticism whatsoever. I can hear all the objections right now, but I've always criticized myself. How can I possibly like that about myself? My teachers, parents, and lovers always criticize me. How will I be motivated? But it is wrong for me to do these things. How am I going to change if I criticize myself? Training the mind. Self-criticisms like these are just the mind going on with old chatter. See how you've trained your mind to berate you and be resistant to change? Ignore those thoughts and get on with the important work at hand. Let's go back to an exercise we did earlier. Look into the mirror again and say I love and approve of myself exactly as I am. How does that feel now? Is it a little easier after the forgiveness work we have done? This is still the main issue. Self-approval and self-acceptance are the keys to positive changes. In the days when my self-denial was so prevalent, I would occasionally slap my face. I didn't know the meaning of self-acceptance. My belief in my lacks and limitations was stronger than anything anyone else could say to the contrary. If someone told me I was loved, my immediate reaction was, why? What could they possibly see in me? Or the classic thought, if they only knew what I was really like inside, they wouldn't love me. I was not aware that all good begins with accepting that which is within oneself and loving that self which is you. It took quite a while to develop a peaceful, loving relationship with myself. First, I used to hunt for the little things about myself I thought were good qualities. Even this helped, and my health began to improve. Good health begins with loving the self. So do prosperity and love and creative self-expression. Later, I learned to love and approve of all of even those qualities I thought were not good enough. That was when I began to make progress. Another methodology that I love is the idea of being present. And the idea here is that in reality time is an illusion. There is no future, and there is no past. And most of the unpleasant emotions that we feel have something to do with either the future or the past. If we're scared, if we're stressed, it is usually because we are afraid about something that might happen in the future, usually. And if we feel, let's say, resentment or anger, this kind of negative emotion is also usually rooted in the past. And the happiness is the emotion that you feel in the present. If you move happiness to the future, it will become excitement. If you move happiness to the past, it will become usually nostalgia. But the truth is that happiness, the true pure joy, is in the present moment and only in the present moment. So, if you practice consciousness and bring yourself back to the present moment, that actually over time works wonders. Your set point of happiness starts going up. You walk out into nature and you feel the freshness of the air. That's the moment to be happy about. Because how many times we don't even notice how we breathe, what we see around us. And when we see these things around us, if we don't bring ourselves back to the now to notice, life might just pass by without us truly learning what is happiness. When we talk about happiness, often we talk about shifting the perception, looking at things differently, seeing the light versus the dark. But the truth is that there are both. There's light, there's dark. We were just talking about seasons in Estonia. I remember when I lived in Estonia, I loved spring. And spring is not as warm as summer. But just the sight of the sun makes you feel happy. Just a little bit of warmth when you can take off those gloves and feel the air on your hands. That makes you happy. And you can only truly appreciate spring if you have survived the winter. So what I'm talking about is there is going to be negative in our life. And the art of learning to be happy is not to ignore or not notice the negative, or be okay with the negative. It is actually to learn to work with it. What do you do when you feel a negative emotion? First of all, you acknowledge that it exists. You give it a true and fair and honest name without spiritual bypassing. You acknowledge this is what I feel. You allow yourself to feel it, and every emotion feels in your body in a certain way, which helps. I like the connection between emotions and the physical body. Because by translating your emotions into physical body, it's easier to work with them. So let's say if you feel fear and it's somewhere in your stomach, just relaxing that part of your body helps. Or if you feel like anger and it's up here, breathing deeper helps. And then after you let it be, that's when you're ready to move on and transform this emotion. But you have to let it be. One thing that life will throw at you is negative emotions in the form of being upset with someone. And I think that the point is that we are sometimes thinking that forgiveness is about, if I forgive, the evil is not going to be punished. So we don't want to forgive. Because we want some kind of learning out of that. Or the evil to be punished. But the truth is that forgiveness is not a practice for anyone else but for you. Being upset with someone is like taking poison, hoping that the person who upset you is going to suffer. If you are upset with someone, if you are angry with someone, if you hold a grudge against someone, the only person who is suffering is you. Just you. And the moment when you realize that, forgiveness is not about the other person who has hurt you, but it is only about you. You have much more motivation to work on that. You cannot help anyone if you are not happy.